So there's about 22 days until the Wild Area Global begins. This is not even the Nagasaki one where it's happening literally a week earlier, so we can find out even more. But with only that many days until the event, today I want to take the chance that honestly I'm feeling like I'm starting to do, and it actually helps me a lot, but deep dive into the event. Take a look at the info post, look at everything going down so I can start to get a mental idea of what are going to be my focuses, what are going to be the best parts of the event, the rarest things you should be hunting, and how can you prepare in advance. So today, that's what we're doing. We're deep diving into the Wild Area 2025. This is officially the second year of the Wild Area, and I think it was a very, very beloved event because I think, thinking about it more, but I think it was a refreshing event compared to the major events we normally have. We have Go Fest, which Global Go Fest has been happening for a while, for the past 5 years, right? Global Go Fest started in 2020, it is 2025, so we've had 5 Global Go Fests. But I feel like at the start, Global Go Fest was so much fun. You know, 2020, 2021, I remember playing that, and maybe not everybody here remembers playing that, but it was such a refreshing thing because it was such a different version of an event that we've never gotten. But over the 5 years, Global Go Fest has become very repeat the same thing over and over and over again with just different Pokemon and switching stuff out, which is fine, and that's at the end of the day the core of Pokemon Go, but it's really exciting when we get a completely new event with new focuses and completely new features, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Wild Area last year was so exciting. We had the release of Mighty Pokemon, G-Max Pokemon I believe were released or like kind of like introduced, not completely introduced because I think about the G-Max starters before that, but we're just kind of fresh and new, I guess you could say. And overall, there was a lot of new things going down in Pokemon Go for the Wild Area 2024. And that's why I'm excited for the 2025. And that's why I think a lot of people are going to be excited for this event, is because the Wild Area is just a different take on an event. It's not a tour event. It's not a Go Fest. It's its own unique thing. So I'm excited to see, although I've already looked into this stuff, but it was like a long time, I'm excited to dive in and kind of get a refresher of what's going down, kind of get excited, and also make my shiny checklist. If you don't know here, I haven't talked about it that much. Maybe I've talked about it more than I thought, but a big video I'm working on, my next big project is to complete the shiny decks, living shiny decks, aka catch one of every single shiny in the game. And I'm really excited for when big events come around because it's a good opportunity to get a lot of shinies towards the shiny decks. Because day-to-day gameplay, yeah, you can get 1 or 2 shinies. For example, Sinistea is a new shiny that just got released, so I'm trying to get it casually and all that stuff. But if you really want to lock out the shiny decks, like playing the major events when you can, you know, get 30 new Pokemon for your shiny decks or whatever is huge. So I'm really excited to look and make my shiny decks list about what I'm going to be missing for the Wild Area and what are going to be my main focuses, because I will be in Nagasaki. So I will be in Nagasaki a week before the global event where it comes globally, because normally for these big events, they usually have an in-person one, and then the week after, it's the global version. Excited for that. I leave on November 3rd from Ottawa to fly to Nagasaki. And then after the Wild Area, we're of course doing our group trip in Osaka, Kyoto, and Nara, which I'm really excited to shout out to anybody who is coming on that trip. If you are interested in joining a group trip next year, we have officially launched South Korea and Japan for May. I'll leave a link below if you want to check that out. But I'm excited. I'm also going to be doing my 1-week free-to-play challenge while I'm doing the group trip. So if you're interested in seeing some free-to-play content, I'm going to be starting a completely fresh account. I was actually excited to see on this fresh account, I know we're completely going off topic, but we'll get into the Wild Area in a second, but I'm excited to do this fresh account. Originally, I was going to be like, oh, can I hit level 40 in 1 week in Japan as a free-to-play player? But level 40 is no longer a thing. Well, it's still a thing, but it's a lot easier. So I'm curious, from what level will we be able to hit from 0 as a free-to-play player in Japan doing 1 week of free-to-play gameplay? Of course, traveling with a bunch of other Pokemon Go players, so we'll have the advantage of being able to do raids and all that stuff whenever we want. But I'm very curious. I'm very curious on what advantages we can take, well, like how far we can take that account. So anyway, stay tuned for that series. It's going to be 7 days, dropping videos back to back to back for 7 days straight. Excited for that. So anyway, that is it. Today we're talking about the Wild Area. Before I do get into it, I got to show off this thrift find I got. As you can see here, this is Roots, which is a Canadian brand. I don't know if you know it, but this is like a 1980s vintage Roots fleece I found at the thrift shop for $10. It was back when they made these in Canada. It literally says made in Canada. Super warm, super nice, and for $10. I don't know why, but I feel like every couple, like maybe months or like once a year, I get into like this thrifting Because normally I don't buy clothes because I feel like I have way too many clothes. I feel like most people have just way too many clothes. Like we don't need that many clothes and it just ends up cluttering up our houses. At least that's how I see it. Obviously you still need like some clothes, but like I feel like I have way too much. So usually I don't like buying clothes. I usually don't buy new clothes unless it's something like I really, really need, like a winter jacket or a rain jacket, like an essential piece of like utility gear, I guess you could say. But in terms of style, I try not to buy too much. But what was I trying to say? Every year I kind of get into like a thrifting vibe where I go to thrift shops. So me and my mom are going to a thrift shop tomorrow. We're going to see what we can find. But yeah, I don't know, it can just be fun to thrift, but then also it's obviously great for the planet to reuse clothes. And this was a cool find I found, a vintage Roots. Look at this logo. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one getting excited over this because I'm Canadian or whatever and people don't know what Roots are, but like when you get a good thrift find, you got to show it off. So anyway, that's what we're wearing today. It's super warm. Hopefully it doesn't rain. It looks a little bit gross out. The weather's been getting a little bit rainy, but it's beautiful fall. Let me go sit down and let's talk about the wild area. You know, it was funny. I was looking at, before I made this video, I was looking at the other deep dives I made, and I was thinking about one of the last deep dives I made, which was for GoFest of this year, was in Japan, which was pretty exciting. Hopefully you guys can't hear. There's like somebody who's like literally sawing, sounds like they're sawing somebody in half, but I guess they're just cutting trees and all that stuff. But nonetheless, let's dive into the wild area. Let me make sure I have the correct one because the wild area in Nagasaki will be different than the global wild area. I guess we can maybe jump into the Nagasaki one after, but I don't really know if there's much value because I don't really know how many people who are watching this are going to Nagasaki. If you're gonna be in Nagasaki, let me know. But one thing about the Japan events, if you don't know, is that they sell out insanely quick. So if you've ever wanted to go to an event in Japan, which I always explain to people is like Pokemon GO on steroids. It's like, let me just say this. It's dangerous to go to Japan for Pokemon GO because you'll never want to go anywhere else to play the game, I guess you could say, because it's just so much better there. It destroys your dopamine receptors to another level. It's fun though. So if you ever want to go, remember to book your ticket and your hotel as quick as possible because so many people, there's so many players in Japan compared to the States, and it's a smaller country, so like when an event gets announced in Japan, and since the train travel there is so good, everyone who plays Pokemon GO in Japan is taking a weekend trip to go play Pokemon GO. You know, they're going from the north to the south, you know, taking an 8-hour, 4 or 5 hour train or whatever for like a weekend trip to go to a global event. Like, it's kind of insane how good their infrastructure out there for trains are. Imagine like in the States, no matter where the event was in the States, you could just take like a 5-hour train and just go for the weekend. I guess you still have to pay for the accommodation, all that stuff, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of distance, it's far, but the trains make it quicker. What I'm trying to say though is if you're planning on going to Nagasaki, the hotels are very, very hard to get. And this will most likely be the future for every single Japan event. So if you ever wanted to go to a Japan event, keep an eye on the hotels and be ready to book quick. Book a hotel quick. Anyway, completely aside, we're talking about the wild area global. We're talking about no matter where you are in the world, you can play this event. Let's start the deep dive. Okay, November 15th, 10 a.m. to November 16th, 6 p.m. Now this is not going over a night. It's actually November 15th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then November 16th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So you do get a break. You can't just like keep playing 24 hours. Imagine they did that like a whole weekend. I guess like why not? I guess they don't want people they want people resting, I guess. I'm not sure, but anyway. So it's going to be a total of 16 hours of gameplay. For the brave, adventure awaits around for the brave, I gotta read right. Adventure awaits around every corner. Are you ready to venture into the wild area? The wild area is, of course, an event that is themed around the wild area in Generation 8, I believe, right? There's something called the wild area in Gen 8, and that's where the Gmax Pokemon appear, and you can find the Gmax dens. I'm pretty sure I'm quoting this right. I've been playing a lot of Legends ZA, so I don't really remember Gen 8 right now. All the Lumio City is in my head, but if you've been playing Legends ZA, let me know what you enjoy. I chose Tepig as my starter, by the way. Anyway, trainers around the world can gear up for a worldwide adventure, blah, 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 in-game activities for 2 days only. Looking to enhance your Go Wild Area weekend experience with an exclusive special research, additional bonuses, and an increased chance of encountering shiny Pokemon, purchase a global ticket for the Pokemon Go web store. So you can buy a ticket. It's going to be $11.99 USD. I believe this is like the standard prices that they're kind of sticking with for tickets. It's about $15 USD. I remember there was one year when GoFest was $5. It was only $5 because it was sponsored. I really hope you guys can't hear that. It was only $5 because it was sponsored by Samsung. But I really do hope they bring down the ticket price 1 year. Maybe for next year, maybe for 10th year anniversary, although tickets will be cheaper. Probably not though. If you purchase this ticket through the web store, you do get a new avatar item. So if you're going to buy it through the web shop. You get the Flower Crown Special Avatar item. If you're into that, go for it. I'm getting ads for Oral-B. I brush my teeth, I promise. Bonuses. Okay, general bonuses. So everybody's going to get 3 raid passes per day from spinning photo discs at gyms. I will mention last year it was 2 raid passes. So this bonus for free-to-play players is actually better by 1 raid pass this year, which means you can do 6 raids each day, because up to 3 free raid passes. So yeah, 6 raids total on the weekend, which isn't bad. That's like the same as a raid day for free. So that's not bad. Daily particle collection limit will also be increased to 1,600. So you can do 2 Gmax battles each day. Technically more if you come into the weekend, if you save your max particles from Friday, bring them in. You get 3 snapshots, surprise event encounters per day. I remember last year, I believe it was Pikachu Rockstar and Popstar. I don't know what it'll be this year. I don't know if there's a theme Pikachu. I guess we'll get to that, what my predictions for the snapshots are going to be. I always forget to do my snapshots, which is unfortunate, but don't forget to do it. Don't be like me. Don't forget your snapshots. Okay, ticketed bonuses. So if you buy the ticket, $11.99 USD, you will get these bonuses active from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Increased shiny odds. I was actually just looking at my video where I tested the GoFest shiny odds, and we came down, I came down to like a 1 in 64 shiny odds? Or no, was it 1 in 128 shiny odds? I forget. Point is, don't expect crazy, crazy high shiny odds. I think people go into these events and they're like, oh my God, I'm gonna get so many shinies. Like shiny odds, when it says increased shiny odds for shiny Pokemon, the regular shiny odds are 1 in 500. So they could say, hey, the shiny odds are now 1 in 499, and this is not a lie. We don't know what number they bring it to. They don't disclose it to us. I'm sure there's a legal loophole on how they do not have to disclose it to us. I know a lot of people have said that this is illegal. If it is illegal and you're a lawyer, maybe you can look into it, but I'm sure that Scopely and Niantic have looked into how this is not illegal to not disclose what the rates are of this. Because technically it's like gambling, right? But I guess, I don't know. Point is, increased shiny odds. I don't know why I'm going on a tangent about that. We don't know what they're going to be. Either 1 in 64, 1 in 128. I would lean more towards expecting 1 in 128. But remember, just because you check 128 Pokemon doesn't mean you're going to get a shiny on the 128th. It's every check, you're rolling a dice with 128 odds. You could roll that dice 1,000 times and never land on the one side that would give you a shiny. Anyway, moving on. Daily max particle collection limit will be increased to 3,200. So I believe that's going to be 4 Gmax for free. Not for free, but you can do 4 Gmaxes a day each day. So you're going to get, 8 Gmaxes total? So 8 Gmax Grimmsnarls. Increase max particles from power spots and exploration. So you'll probably get usually it's 800 from power spots, 600 from exploration. And it'll only be, I believe, 500 meters to get your max particles for exploration. Usually that's a free bonus, I believe. Usually that's a free bonus for the max battle days, but for some reason it's under the paid side. You get up to 6 raid passes per day, so you get up to 12 raid passes on the weekend. 2 times candy for catching Pokemon. Increased chance of 5-kilometer eggs from spinning Pokestops photo discs at gyms. Half egg incubator distance. Lure modules activated for 2 hours instead of 1, and you get 6 snapshots, so double the amount of snapshots. So overall, $11 USD, sorry, $12 USD. Just the max. If you're planning on using all your raid passes and all of your max particles, you are getting more value than $12 at a base on this ticket. So the ticket is worth it if you're going to do all the Gmax max particles and you're going to use all your raid passes. However, what I will say, and I always say this, but value is such a subjective thing. Some people who are watching this video are like, I don't care about Gmax Grimmsnarl. I'm not going to use any max particles, or even better, like some people are just like, I don't even care about Dynamax. So they're not going to even take advantage of that feature. So then that's when the ticket becomes kind of like a weird thing. Is it worth it or not? And you kind of have to outweigh and weigh out to you what is worth it on this list. Are you big into hatching eggs? Do you want more candy for catching Pokemon? Do you like raiding? If you like raiding, then these 12 raid passes you can get by buying the ticket might be worth it. Although I believe you can get more than 12 raid passes for $12 USD if you just bought raid passes directly instead of buying them through the ticket. But again, it's also a bundle deal. Like if you're into raiding and you're also going to hatch eggs, you're getting more value because you not only get the raid passes, but you also get the distance. So I can't answer whether this ticket is worth it for you or not. I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask. But what I will say is that, like, again, look at the bonuses, and we're going to keep going through because there's other stuff you get for the ticket, and kind of like weigh out, is it worth $12? One thing I'll always mention, and people always bring up, but it is a good thing to mention, that like some people don't like spending money on the game, which is fine. If you're somebody who like has made an oath to never spend money on your hobbies, that's fine. But then you also have to relate that I think spending money on video games and spending money on these things have been frowned upon when you're really just taking money and putting it into your source of entertainment. You know, people will spend money on movies, and that's been a thing that's been done for many, many years, and society does not, like, no one's like, you're wasting your money on going to the movies? Why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, that's not fun. People have spent money on bowling, have spent money on pool, like whatever entertainment, social activity you do, people have spent money on. But I think that there's a negative stigma. I was going to say sigma. There's a negative stigma around spending money on Pokemon Go because it's like a video game and it's digital. It's not like the real world. When really all it is you're taking your entertainment budget and you're putting it into Pokemon Go because that's your entertainment. And if you think about it, $12 USD. I'm not trying to be a Niantic spokesperson here. Like, don't buy the ticket if you don't want to buy the ticket. But all I'm trying to say is understand that spending $12 to have a weekend of fun is not a bad thing. And of course, you could go have the weekend of fun without spending money, and if that's going to be fun to you. But if $12 makes your weekend experience way more fun, at the end of the day, I think that is a win because Pokemon Go is meant to be enjoyed. It's a source of entertainment, and if you have money in your entertainment budget and you think that this is going to make your weekend more enjoyable, I don't see why you don't spend money on it, and I don't think you should ever shame somebody for spending money on it because it's the same thing as saying, hey, I have money in my entertainment budget account or whatever. I have money I can spend on entertainment right now that I've put aside for this reason. I'm going to go to the movie, and I'm going to go to the movies with it. No one's going to say anything about that. I don't think anyone should say a thing about you spending it on Pokemon Go for a ticket. But again, there's also obviously a lot of layers. It's obviously complex. Some people don't spend money on the game, and they have an oath, which complete respect to you, but they're like, my account is free to play. I've never spent money on it, and I'm proud of it that way. Look, if that's you, 100%, that's what makes you happy. That's how you enjoy the game. Go for it. But if you're on the fence and you're just like, you don't want to spend the money, just think of it as entertainment. Anyway, I'm not trying to like, don't buy the ticket if you don't want to, because I don't want to sit here and sound too much like a Niantic or like a salesman. Like, I don't benefit at all if you buy a ticket. So buy a ticket or don't, but just I think that's the healthiest perspective to look at it. Okay, way too long of a tangent, Dax. Let's continue. All-day ticket bonuses. So if you buy the ticket, you will also get 6 special trades per day, half Stardust for trades. I'm kind of, I don't want to say upset, but I feel like the 6 special trades per day bonus has been a thing that you could get for free before in the past, but now it's no longer that. But still, that's 12 special trades over the weekend. That's a lot of special trades. That's a lot of, even if you don't have lucky friends, you can still always just randomly mirror trade extra shinies or community shinies or shinies you catch during the wild era that you might get. And they could end up going lucky and lead to a shundo. There's about I think it's a 10% chance, or is it 5 or 10% chance of a Pokemon going lucky from a random trade? So if you do all 12 shiny trades, just normal trades, pretty high odds that one of them goes lucky and you could end up with a shundo. So pretty good bonus there, and you do get less Stardust for trades, which is great if you're trying to deck some shinies that you might not have, which I will definitely be doing. I'm going to be going around asking people, hey, do you have this shiny for my shiny decks so I can get it? Because there's a lot I'm missing. Well, not that many. I'm missing like 60. Okay, features. Gigantamax Grimmsnarl makes its debut. So obviously Gmax Grimmsnarl is the one that's going to decide the theme for the event. Last year we had Toxtricity, which made it an electric and poison type event. This year it's Grimmsnarl, so it's a fairy and a dark type event. Because Grimmsnarl is a fairy and dark type. Fun fact, it's actually one of my favorite Pokemon. I just really like, I don't know the word. Is it a paradox? It feels like is paradox? I don't know. The one where it's like two opposites. I'm pretty sure it's a paradox. Yeah, it's paradox. Grimmsnarl feels like a paradox because it's a dark type, but it's a fairy type. It's like dark and light at the same time, if that makes sense. I think it's cool. Anyway, Your adventure got a lot bigger. G-Max Grimmsnarl will make its global debut. You can go ahead and take it on. Of course, you can have up to 100 people in the lobby. There'll also be a chance to learn more about G-Max Grimmsnarl in the event-exclusive special research story. Complete this for an encounter with the G-Max Grimmsnarl. So I do believe this is going to be free. I'm not sure if this will be paid, but I think it's free. You get a special research for a free encounter with G-Max Grimmsnarl, which is nice, especially for rural trainers who don't have communities to take on G-Max Grimmsnarl. They can still get one, which is great. I don't know if G-Max Grimmsnarl, I believe, is a dark type G-Max attacker. I believe it has a dark type move, but anyway, good stuff. Grimmsnarl will also, of course, make its debut in its regular form, in which you can find Impidimp, Morgrem, and Grimmsnarl. Impidimp specifically is going to be in the wild, and it's going to be hatching from the 5-kilometer eggs. Pretty cool Pokemon, in my opinion. It's going to be a basic 25 candies to evolve it into Morgrem, and then 100 candies to evolve Morgrem into Grimmsnarl. Pretty much like every single evolution line in the game. Cool Pokemon. Will it be good? I haven't really looked too much into this Pokemon's moveset, so I'm not 100% sure how it's going to fare in the meta. But it'll be cool, and of course you can get the G-Max form, and you can go ahead and get the non-G-Max form, which is good. Specifically, the only reason you'd want to get the ones in the eggs in the wild is so you can shiny dex them all, because if you just catch a shiny G-Max Grimmsnarl, you don't have shiny Impidimp and Morgrem in your Pokedex. But if you don't care about that and you just want Grimmsnarl, then you might as well just focus on doing it through the G-Max battles. I will say, though, catching Impidimps in the wild never hurts for the candies, so you can power it up. So anyway, this is a big part of the event, and I don't want to say a gripe of mine, but something that I've been thinking about. Rescue Shadow Darkrai from Team Go Rocket. So they're at it again. Team Go Rocket is venturing into the wild area this year. Last year, we didn't have Team Go Rocket. We didn't have any Shadow Raids, I believe. I don't think it was a part of the event, or at least a big part of the event. But this year, on Saturday, so Saturday only, Shadow Cresselia will be in Shadow Raids. And then on Sunday, Shadow Darkrai will be in Shadow Raids. So you can get the shiny shadows of both of these, which are going to be 2 new shiny shadows. It's kind of insane how quickly these shiny shadows are coming out now. But anyway, 2 new shiny shadows. However, one thing about these, and I think I'm going to kind of skip ahead here, is to this. Look out for a new special background. So trainers who participate in raids and max battles during the event, you can get a special background on the Pokemon. I think it's a 1 in 10 odds of a background. Now, I know a lot of people have different mixed opinions on the special backgrounds, about whether they're worth it or not, and I've talked about it before, but special backgrounds can sometimes just feel like a cop-out easy content style, where it's like, oh, give it a background, it's a new Pokemon, something new to hunt. But I'm usually excited for the special backgrounds because of the fact that I can get the special background and then trade it to people for Pokemon I want. Maybe that's just my selfish version of how I enjoy these Pokemon, because I know that you'll get a special background and it'll be cool, but for me it's like, well, I'm never going to power it up, you know what I mean? Like, I want a Shundo, I want a Hundo special background, or I want to give it to somebody who cares about it more than me. But during this event, Shadow Darkrai Cresselia, Bewear, wearing the Wilderness Cape, which I'll talk about, and G-Max Grimmsnarl can have the background. 2 of those Pokemon, first of all, Darkrai's a mythical, you can't trade it, and Shadow Cresselia, you can't trade a Shadow, so you have to purify it with the background before you can trade it away. So it's a cool thing. I love the backgrounds, but I did enjoy it, I think, a little bit more last year when we had Kyogre and Groudon in raids, and where you could catch those with the background and then you could just trade them. I think the shadow aspect of this event is cool, but I think it's starting to layer on a little bit too much. Maybe this is just maybe my perspective, but we have a shadow and then the background, it's like, damn, that's a lot. Look, it's cool. At the end of the day, it's cool, and I'm definitely going to play the event, but I guess I shouldn't really be talking about it because I don't really know where I stand on it and how my opinion on it is. But I just think that backgrounds are cool when you can trade them away, and these ones you can't trade away. Now, obviously, Grimmsnarl you can trade away, so that'll be cool. But anyway, I still think Shadow Darkrai is going to be amazing. This is going to be a top Ghost-type attacker. It's kind of weird they didn't give Darkrai Dark Void. I don't know when Darkrai is going to ever get its legacy move Dark Void, and I hope one day it does. Because for now, Darkrai is good, and this will make it better as a Dark and a Ghost-type attacker. But I don't think it's going to be number 1 until it gets Dark Void. I haven't looked at it. It might be number 1, but all I'm saying is it's going to be dominant. If Darkrai gets Dark Void and has a Shadow form, it's going to be dominant. So Out of these two, I would highly recommend focusing on Shadow Darkrai, as that's going to be a very, very good Pokemon. I know Tony TM will be all up in that Darkrai. I should take that back, but he loves Darkrai. It's his favorite Pokemon. That's why I said that. That was crazy for me to say, though. And then Cresselia. Shadow Cresselia. This was actually my first Shundo ever in Pokemon Go. So I have a Shundo Cresselia. Will Shadow Cresselia be that good? I believe we've had Shadow Cresselia before, and I believe it's a decent Pokemon, but it's not the best. So Shadow Cresselia is the one that I think less people will be focused on. It's still a cool shiny, and in the Shadow form, it'll look really cool. But I think Darkrai will be the biggest aspect of this event because it's the new one, and it can be Shadow Shiny. Which I guess Cresselia is a new Shadow Shiny, but it's not a new Shadow. So anyway, Bewear wearing the Wilderness Cave. Every year at the Wild Area, they always have a big new costume. And I will say, I'm not a huge fan of costumes, but I think that they actually put in effort for the Wild Area costumes where I actually kind of enjoy them, and it makes me kind of want to go after them. So last year we had the Snorlax with the punk rock jacket or rock star jacket. This year we have Bewear with like a cool wilderness cape. It's going to be available in 3-star raids. I believe at the Nagasaki event it'll be available in the wild, but I don't think during the global event it'll be available in the wild. Anyway, cool costume Pokemon, looks cool. It's got the cape. Bewear, not a very useful Pokemon compared to Snorlax, but still, it's cool. I definitely enjoy catching this more than just another costume Pikachu. And I think the more they put an effort into these like cool costumed Pokemon for the Wild Area event, I think the better. I feel like some of the recent costumes we've actually had have been pretty good. Like the Psyduck with the costume has been cool. I swear to God there was another one. I guess like the Halloween costumes. I'm not huge into Halloween costumes, but I will still say they do put in more effort. They do put in more effort. So respect for any costume hunters. That's going to be great for you. Okay, Mighty Pokemon. I think, so obviously at the start of this video, I talked a little bit about how the Wild Area feels fresh, it feels new, and I think one of the biggest reasons for that is the Mighty Pokemon. Now, if you've never played a Wild Area event before, you don't know what Mighty Pokemon are, so let me explain. So Mighty Pokemon are going to have are going to spawn in the wild, first of all. They're going to be final stage form Pokemon, so either stage 1 or stage 2 fully evolved Pokemon. Think of Pokemon GO 2016 finding Dragonite in the wild, or think of like alpha Pokemon in the main series games where you find like their final big forms and they're like red-eyed. That's kind of like the inspiration. I think Mighty Pokemon are technically inspired in the Gen 8 games. In the wild area, you could encounter Mighty Pokemon, which would be caught at a much higher level. So they were introduced into Pokemon GO, which you can find these Pokemon in the wild. They're going to have a higher attack, defense, and HP IVs. So I believe their IV floor is 13, 13, 13. So there's about, is it 13, 13, 13? It doesn't say here. I completely forget. I think it's 13, 13, 13. Or is it 12, 12, 12? No, that's Lucky's. Let's go with 13, 13, 13. I will break down exactly what IVs is. I can't remember right now, but in my tips video, I'll talk about it. But there's about a 1 in 27 chance of a Mighty Pokemon being a Hundo. So if you've ever wanted a Hundo or a Shundo in Pokemon GO, Mighty Pokemon are some of the best ways to get them. They're also going to have a higher odds of being extra large or extra, extra large. So they're going to be big, like when they appear on the screen. They're going to be harder to capture. They're usually going to have a red circle, and the best way to capture them is Golden Raspberry and using the item, the Safari Ball, which I'll talk about in a second. And then also, when you encounter them, you won't see their CP value. It'll be like a 3 exclamation point. And finally, when they're caught, they're usually caught at level 40, 45, or 50, aka they're like almost already powered up to the highest level in Pokemon GO. I believe you can catch them. Can you catch them at level 50? I don't know if you can catch them at level 50, but I believe you can catch them at level 45. AKA, you can pretty much just catch a Mighty Pokemon, and then that Pokemon is just ready to use in battle. You don't need to power it up. You might need to change its moveset, but its IVs are already really, really good, and it's already a really, really high level. So Mighty Pokemon are amazing. They're really good at collecting like any Mega Hundos you might need. For example, you can find these Pokemon in the wild, and then they're already powered up, and they're just good to catch because they just are really high level. And they're also very fun to catch. Also, very high odds of a Shundo. Now, the best way to catch them is going to be with the Safari Balls. These are event-exclusive balls that will be given to you, usually through timed research. And I believe every hour you get a Safari Ball refresh, like 10 Safari Balls. So use them wisely. And then at the end of the event, they go away. But pretty much these Safari Balls they're not like Master Balls, but they have a much, much higher catch odds. If you use a Safari Ball, you have like a times like 10 catch multiplier. I don't know the exact number, but it really, really increases the odds of catching a mighty Pokemon. So Safari Balls are going to be amazing. I believe with the ticket, you will probably get more Safari Balls than without the ticket, but without the ticket, you will still be able to get some Safari Balls. Now, I will do a quick mention on Safari Balls that a lot of people last year discovered as well that Safari Balls are amazing for catching Galarian birds. So if you've ever wanted a Galarian bird in Pokemon Go, the wild area is actually one of the best events to do it because you can drop your daily incense, and if you encounter a Galarian bird, use a golden raspberry and then use a Safari Ball, the odds of catching it is way, way higher than it normally would be. So consider that. Consider also putting all your rare candy right now into Dialga so you can freeze your daily incense and get it for longer during the wild area, which will increase your odds of finding a Galarian bird and catching one. So I'm excited for that specifically because I think catching shiny Galarian birds and regular Galarian birds, I guess it doesn't really matter as much for shiny Galarian birds because they're not going to run from you, but regular Galarian birds will be easier to catch during this event with the Safari Ball item. Remember to use them wisely. Anyway, before I move and get a sip of water, actually there's no water here, I do quickly want to mention here the new shinies during the event. We do have Shiny Unknown W making its release. If you don't know, not every Shiny Unknown is in Pokemon Go. Shiny Unknown W is going to be released. W. Shiny Hatena, Hatterene, and Hatterene are also going to be new shinies. Of course, mainly Hatena in the wild, and you can evolve it up. And of course, the Impidimp to Grimmsnarl line will be new. So we have a total of 7 new shinies during this event. I don't know how that compares to last year. In terms of new shinies, we had Toxtricity, Toxel. I think we had a new Unknown. I think that was it. I forget exactly how many new shinies. But still, this is a decent amount of new shinies. I think one thing about the wild area is that I don't think people expect as much to hunt the new shinies. It's less of a shiny wild spawn hunting focused event, and it's more of like finding the mighty Pokemon, doing the Gmax, doing the raids, all that stuff. It can be an expensive event, but it's definitely less focused on the wild spawns, especially because we don't have 4 rotating habitats. Now, before I get into the habitats, all this stuff, let me go move, find a new location. Let's continue talking about this. I just need to get up and stretch, and also, I was going to say I need a drink of water, but I'm not going to be able to find water, so we're just going to raw dog the rest of this. Okay, we've moved into the sun. I hope there was not too bad of an echo when we were going and sitting over there, but anyway. Okay, moving on, we now have to choose our path. So as I mentioned, every single year, the wild area is themed around the type of the Gmax boss. And that's what leads to what Pokemon are going to be spawning in the wild and what types of Pokemon you'll be able to find. So Dark and Fairy, of course, is the type of Gmax. So there will be a branching special research storyline where you can choose Dark or Fairy type. Now, what does this change? I kind of forget what it does, but, okay, never mind. It says, I'm blind. It says it right on screen. You'll get encounter with Dark type Pokemon, and you'll get the Dark Expert Medal upon research completion. Okay, so you pretty much just get a couple more encounters with Dark or Fairy type Pokemon. It actually won't really change much of your gameplay depending on what you choose. Now, you do, of course, get 3 photobombs or 6 photobombs, depending if you have the ticket or not. And that brings us all the way into the wild spawns. Actually, before we talk about the wild spawns, it says, trainers who explore routes during the Pokemon Go Wild Area Global will encounter Pokemon more frequently and earn additional buddy candy. Okay, so do your routes. I guess you will encounter Pokemon more frequently, which is good. I think you should just, if you're playing a big event and you really want to maximize on everything, you shouldn't really ever be walking not on a route because routes will just get you more spawns because you'll get the route spawns. But like, again, I also understand that routes sometimes are the worst planned like routes ever. Like people make routes and I'm like, this path makes 0 sense for Pokemon Go. I guess it's a good time for you to start like prepping your routes in Pokemon Go. Anyway, let's get to the spawns, okay? Let's get to the spawns, okay? So 2 habitats, Lurking Dark and Fanciful Fairy. For trainers, eventing Pokemon will appear around 2 rotating habitats, aka 1 hour will be Dark, 1 hour will be Fairy, and it'll go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That'll happen on both days. I know we've had some days where like on Sunday, it's just everything mixed in together. I don't believe for the wild area they do that. I do believe it's just, it continues to rotate throughout the whole day. So we have, in the Dark habitat, Alolan Meowth, Alolan Grimer, Ghastly, Hoot Hoot, Murkrow, Sneasel, Houndour, Poochyena, Galarian Zigzagoon, Seedot, Nincada, Cacnea, Kricketot, Skunky. I need that for my shiny decks. Scroopy, Scraggy, Zora, Fungus, Dino, Inkay, Phantom, Impidimp, and Dreepy. So not a bad little collection of dark types. I think that this spawn pool is better than it is because I just love dark types. Dark is my favorite type of Pokemon. So I think there's just a lot of cool Pokemon. Also, I feel like I'm like pitch black right now. No, I think it's fine. Anyway, point is here, not a bad little spawn. You do have Dino, which is very meta relevant. Dreepy, the pseudo legendary, which is great as well. Inkay has the new Mega, and a couple good shinies to hunt in here. I think one thing about all these wild spawns that I've been thinking about a lot is just that there's just so many Pokemon that have had calm days, and so many Pokemon have been released to Pokemon Go. As you know, I made a video very recently about how there's so many Pokemon in the game, and Pokemon Go is like 90% of the Pokemon in the universe are in Pokemon Go now. So when you look at these habitats and all these events, you're kind of like, well, you might have a lot of these because you've been playing Pokemon Go for 2-3 years, and most of these have had calm days or been featured multiple times during multiple events, and you might already have their shinies. But of course, new players are always coming in. There's probably plenty of you that are like looking at this and you're like, I don't have any of these shinies, so I'm gonna get them. So obviously that's amazing, and I hope you have a great time catching them. Fanciful Fairy Hour, okay? Clefairy, Alolan Vulpix, Jigglypuff, Galarian Ponyta, Chansey, Togetic, Marill, Snubbull, Ralts, Skitty, Swablu, Phoebus, Cherubi. Funny enough, I hate Cherum, so on stream somebody said, hey, evolve your shiny Cherubi and then transfer it, and I gladly did it, but now I actually need shiny Cherubi and shiny Cherum for my living shiny deck, so I'm actually going to have to hunt that shiny. But we also have Audino, Cottony, Esper, Dedenne. We have Klefki, which is normally a regional, coming, which is nice. Poplio, Cutiefly, Hatena, Impidimp, and Smoliv. I think that a lot of people are down for the Fanciful Fairy Hour, especially because fairy types are just rare. So this is a good opportunity to work on your fairy platinum medal and also just catch a lot of these rare fairy Pokemon that not a lot of people have. I will say some of these Pokemon are not fairy types at all, but they're still in here, like Audino. I guess it's Mega is a fairy type. Chansey, what does Chansey have to do with fairies? But anyway, I guess they ran out of fairies to give. That is one thing actually, like straight up, like how is this all not fairy type Pokemon? Like, come on, are you really trying to hold off on giving us like rare fairy type Pokemon? Like you don't want to throw Mawile in there, or you don't want to throw, I feel like there's some rare fairy type Pokemon that they kind of kept off. But anyway, maybe I'm missing out. Okay, Mighty Pokemon. Now, of course, I mentioned how Mighty Pokemon work, but only certain Pokemon will be Mighty. With Saturday, we'll have Mighty Wigglytuff, Galarian Rapidash, Tyranitar, Mawile, Absol, Golurk, Hatterene, Obstagoon, and Meowscarada. And then Mighty Pokemon on Sunday will be Alolan Ninetales, Galarian Weezing, Granbull, Houndoom, Gardevoir, Honchkrow, Garchomp, Drapion, and Weavile. I think great Mighty Pokemon across the board. I think the number one thing they need to put in Mighty Pokemon is always going to be pseudo-legendary. So they have Tyranitar, they have Garchomp in there, which is great. And then they also have a couple cool Pokemon. Mighty Wigglytuff, Rapidash, Absol is great, and Mawile, because those have Mega forms, so you can get really high IV versions of those. What else is good in here? Gardevoir, Houndoom, those have Mega forms. Drapion's a cool Pokemon. Weavile. I think there's a couple ones like Wigglytuff. I'm kind of like, well, why is Wigglytuff a Mighty? But I guess it's a Fairy and Dark-type themed event, so they need to put Fairy and Dark-type themed Pokemon, so it makes sense why they chose the Pokemon. I guess Garchomp doesn't make a lot of sense, though. Why did they put Dreepy? Wait, Dreepy's a ghost type. Why is Dreepy part of this event? There's a couple of interesting choices they made, but I guess they just ran out of Pokemon Dark types to include. I'm not sure. Anyway, Incense encounters, you will be able to encounter the Mighty Pokemon off of Incense, but it does exclude Daily Adventure Incense. This is something important to note that I don't think a lot of people talk about, but like, if you are going to hunt Galarian birds during this event, you might be giving up the chance to actually get yourself encounters with the Mighty Pokemon because they don't spawn off Daily Instance. Now, of course, Mighty Pokemon will spawn in the wild, so maybe it's a trade-off you take, but you can't find the Mighties off of that. Now, if you do buy a ticket, you will get exclusive Incense spawns of unknown D, I, L, and W, as well as the Mighty Pokemon. So wait, so you get the Mighty Pokemon off Incense, whether you have the ticket or not. But you also get unknowns if you have the ticket, and I think what most people might be most excited for, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf are back in the wild during this event. I don't know why I say back in the wild, because they're always in the wild, but during the Sinnoh Tour, you could encounter them in the wild. During this event, off of Incense, you can find Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, in their mighty forms, aka you could end up with a Shundo, Uxie, Mesprit, or Azelf during this event, or even it's going to be very easy to get a Hundo, Uxie, Mesprit, or Azelf because these Pokemon will have much higher IV floor. Now, one thing I will say, with the Safari Ball, I don't know how hard these things are going to be to catch because not only are they going to be mighty, but they're also going to be legendaries. So will they be insanely hard to catch? They might be, because their catch multiplier for being mighty and legendary will go on top of each other. I don't know. But nonetheless, they're going to be mighty Pokemon available to get. So pretty much if you buy the ticket, you get access to those Pokemon off of the Incense, and you get access to the unknowns. But again, I think it's all of a debate whether if you're into Galarian birds, it might be worth spending one day to hunt Galarian birds instead of focusing on the mighty Pokemon off the Incense. But again, yeah, if you run the daily Incense, you're not getting any of the mighty spawns, but if you run the daily Incense, you get the Galarian bird spawn. So it's do you want to do one day regular Incense, one day daily Incense? It's going to be up to you. I don't know what I'll do. I'll probably go with daily Incense though. I just love shiny Galarian birds that I just want so many of them. I think they just look so cool and they're just so rare. But anyway, 5 kilometer eggs have Mime Jr., Sandile, Pawniard, Carbink, Impidimp, and Tinkatink. I'm excited for Mime Jr. returning because that's a shiny I need. If you don't live in Europe, of course, you can't hatch shiny Mime Jr. at any point in time, so this will be a great time to do it. Sandile is also one of my favorite Pokemon, and a lot of cool spawns here, I will say. Tinkatink can't be shiny, so that's going to be one that kind of sucks to hatch, but I actually think the 5 kilometer eggs are not that bad to go after. The Shadow Raids we talked about, the 3-star raids we talked about. There's of course going to be field research tasks during the event that will get you encounters with event-themed Pokemon. Probably going to be some tasks that get you Impidimp encounters or encounters with Fairy and Dark type spawns. Can't tell you what they are now. They never tell us this stuff in advance, which sucks. They want us to find it out as we play the event, which I guess is fine. But I think from me, I'm a very planner-focused mind person, so I like to know. I would love to know before the event starts what field research tasks I can focus on. I will say, technically, you can find out by just waiting till the event starts in Australia and they do all the research for us. But still, I feel bad for the Australians. I wish the Australians knew before their event started. Ticket holder exclusive special research. Ticket holding trainers can claim an exclusive special research when it begins. This branching special research okay, so we already talked about this special research. The shiny debuts, we already talked about that. There's going to be a web store exclusive avatar item with the flower crown. Okay, we can finally see what it looks like. For anybody who's listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it just looks like flowers on their head. So it's nothing special. There's also going to be new avatar items available in the shop. You can purchase them in the in-game shop, and they'll be available after the event. Don't know what they'll be, and new stickers, of course. Okay, moves. I don't know if they did this last year, but I love when they do this during these global events. I wish they actually released exclusive moves during almost every event. I believe, I feel like legacy moves, I don't want to say are becoming legacy, but I feel like there's not enough chance to get legacy moves in Pokemon Go often enough, so it would be nice if they increased those odds of that happening, I guess. So, of course, during this event, you can evolve a Galarian Ponyta into a Rapidash to get Wild Charge, Curly into Gardevoir to get Synchronoise, Absol's caught during the event will know Brutal Swing, Garchomp's evolve into Garchomp to get Earth Power, Bewear's caught during the event or evolved up into Bewear will get Drain Punch, Obstagoons will get Obstruct, and Meowscaradas will get Frenzy Plant. So, couple legacy moves. None of these are too relevant. I believe the most relevant one is Absol. Brutal Swing makes Absol a better dark type attacker. Earth Power makes Garchomp a better ground type attacker. And I guess Meowscarada getting Frenzy Plant is a better grass type attacker. But other than that, the other legacy moves are kind of a little bit obsolete. So yeah, that's kind of it, guys. In terms of what's happening in the wild area Nagasaki, I believe the event is pretty much the same, except there's more bonuses you can get on. You can get some crazy add-on bonuses to get 18 raid passes a day or quarter egg hatch distance. So you pretty much can just spend more money to get crazier bonuses at the in-person event. But other than that, the gameplay features are very, very similar. I guess the only difference will be we'll get more unknown spawns. We have unknown A, D, G, I, K, L, N, S, and W. There's different mighty Pokemon. I don't think Garchomp is available. Instead, we have Hydreigon, we have Corviknight, Primarina. Those, I think, are the different ones that we have. So just a couple different spawns, but overall, the event is the same. I guess Bewear will also be available in the wild in its costume, which will be cool, but overall the event is the same. But what isn't the same, and what I do want to mention before we end this video, is the Into the Wild area event and the Go Pass Into the Wild. Now this is a Go Pass that has been getting a lot of mixed feedback online, and I think I am part of that mixed feedback. Now, you know when the golden bottle cap came out, it was $20. It came out back during Go Fest. If you don't know what a bottle cap is, the golden bottle cap allowed you to change or upgrade your IVs, all three, attack, defense, and stamina, on a Pokemon to turn them into a hundo. So you could make shundo Pokemon. Really, really good item, right? The silver bottle cap was announced for this Go Pass Into the Wild area. The silver bottle cap is the same as gold, but it only increases one of your stats. So you can choose attack, defense, or stamina, and then hyper train it up. I always thought that the gold bottle cap was going to be a paid item. And I wasn't mad when the gold bottle cap came out at first, as it was going to be a paid item. I thought it was fine. Look, this is a premium item. It's going to be paid. But what I said is that I do not think Pokemon Go, it's in their best interest to completely lock out features from free-to-play players. The best strategy, or at least what will make the most fairness, is to say, hey, you get access to this, but if you want a better version of it, you need to spend money. So I always thought that the silver bottle cap, aka the worst version of the gold bottle cap, would be for free. But they announced the Go Pass Into the Wild, and it is not free. Yes, the Go Pass Into the Wild will include a silver bottle cap, but only on the deluxe track, which the deluxe track, does it say how much it costs? Have they announced the price of this? I don't know if they've announced the price of this. Oh yeah, $15 USD. Wasn't it $20 for a golden bottle cap? Now it's $15 for a silver cap. Shouldn't be 1/3 of the price. It's one stat. It's 1/3 of the price. You know what I mean? Shouldn't it be, what's that? $8? Anyway, let's go through this. Let me explain. For $15 USD, you can buy the deluxe track of the Go Pass. Now, of course, if you don't know how the Go Pass works, you have a free side and a paid side. Everyone gets access to the free side. If you upgrade, both your free and your paid side will unlock simultaneously. So for $15 USD, you can buy the deluxe side. If not, you just are stuck with the free side. For $20 USD, you can buy the deluxe side and automatically go up 10 ranks, so you'll start at rank 11. Anyway, from the free side, you'll get an encounter with Cresselia, the Go Wild Area 2025T, Stardust XP Pokeballs candy, and just other stuff, usually max particles, encounters with just random Pokemon. If you upgrade to the deluxe side, you will get the silver bottle cap, an encounter with a Shadow Darkrai, the Grimmsnarl hairstyle, premium items like Incense, Lucky Eggs, Incubators, and more, and Candy XL and more. So you're pretty much buying a Shadow Darkrai encounter and a silver bottle cap. Is that worth $15? I don't really think so, especially when the golden bottle cap was worth $20. Now this is something I've been talking to Niantic about, and I'm just like, it just makes me, I don't want to say upset, but again, for me, it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with making trainers pay more for a premium experience. But when you completely lock out a feature from anybody who doesn't want to spend money on the game, like I don't think that should be fair at all. You know, like even look at raids. I'm fine with how raids work. You get one free raid pass a day. But if you actually want to raid hard and get a hundo or get a shiny, you have to spend money. That's fine. That's how they entice trainers to spend more money on the game. That's how their business model works. But when you completely lock out, like any free-to-play player has never been able to hyper train a Pokemon. Anybody with no money, a kid, has never been able to hyper train a Pokemon no matter how much effort they put into the game. And it's not like I'm saying, oh, give us silver bottle caps for free. No, put it at rank 100 of a Go Pass. Or even be like, oh, to get a silver bottle cap, you have to do 100 raids. But like, just have one way that you can grind to get the item for free. I just think that, I think the point I'm trying to say is I don't think any essential gameplay feature should be locked behind only paid players. I think there should still be a way to, even if limited, explore that feature, I guess you could say. So anyway, I hope that one day the silver cap, the gold cap, any sort of bottle cap, there's a way to get it for free, but those days are not today. Anyway, major milestones. If you hit rank 15, you'll get 2 times Incense duration, which will be useful during the wild area. Rank 30, you'll get 5,000 more XP from raids and 5,000 more XP from completing max battles. And rank 45, you'll get +1 candy and Candy XL from raids and max battles. So of course, this Go Pass, by the way, will be given to everybody the week before the global event. So you'll have all week to like get through the Go Pass so that you have these bonuses unlocked for when the wild area global happens. So when you're doing your Grimmsnarl raids, when you're doing your Shadow Darkrai raids, you can get more candy from catching them, you can get more XP from completing the raids, and you get 2 times Incense duration, which is great if you're going after the mighty Pokemon on Incense. So of course, this Go Pass will drop during the Into the Wild event, which starts on the Monday before the global event. I'll have a tips video about it and everything like that if you guys want more details and tips, but anyway, that is the Go Pass Into the Wild. It's the same as the Go Fest one where it happens the week before, and then on Saturday and Sunday, the Go Pass unlocks. You can get unlimited points every day for the Go Pass. You can complete it in a day if you want, if you haven't done any of it, and you can get all the bonuses. So anyway, that's it. That is kind of all I have to say about that. But yeah, that is, guys, that is pretty much the Go Wild area. Now, as I sit here, obviously, we can only speculate on how the event experience is going to be, and actually playing an event is very different than talking at an event. So I'm very curious once this event does happen to make a YAP session or just discuss what my thoughts on it were. What did I think? How did I think it went? Was it really worth all the hype? But nonetheless, what I can say confidently right now in the present moment is I am excited for this event. I think the wild area events are some of the best events that Pokemon Go puts on. I would say they're above, Go Fest for me. I actually would argue that in order of my favorite global events, I would put Wild Area at number 1, I would put the tour events at number 2, and then I would put Go Fest at number 3. I feel like I've been enjoying Go Fest a lot less and less every year. And maybe it's just because they're just so repeated and repetitive. And obviously this is coming from a trainer who has, you know, the privilege to go to every Go Fest and experience Pokemon Go and play it as a full-time job. So obviously my perspective, completely different than your perspective. But from my perspective, if you're curious, because that's what we're doing here, I guess I'm yapping about my perspective and my thoughts. I do think the wild area event and I do think the tour events are a little bit more fun because I feel like they're a little bit more different and they kind of got something a little bit different going on. A sort of a theme. I guess I think the one thing with Go Fest is I feel like it tries to do so many things, but it doesn't have really a concrete theme. Wild area, it knows what it's doing. It's about focusing on what makes the wild area in Generation 8 so special, aka Mighty Pokemon and G-Max Pokemon, and putting that into an event. Same thing with the tour events. The tour events is just all about one generation and celebrating it. I feel like Go Fest doesn't always know where it's going. Anyway, that is it, guys. That is all I have to say. Hope you guys enjoyed this YAP session. We will be back next Friday for another YAP session. I will say there's going to be a break in the YAP sessions because I have a fun series, the 7-day series coming down. So expect only 3 YAP sessions in November. And instead, we're going to be replacing one of the Friday YAP sessions with an episode of the free-to-play series. So that'll be fun. Anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll catch you guys all next Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure your Halloween costumes are ready because Halloween is next week. So this video will be dropping on Halloween. Next YAP session will be dropping on Halloween. Maybe we'll make a Halloween-themed YAP session. I got to get a costume, though. But anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll catch you guys all next Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enjoy the rest of your day and follow for more tips. Also, watch this other video on screen. Watch the other ones on screen if you enjoyed this one. Peace.